Hello my dears, and welcome to my channel. As always, I'm very happy and grateful that you've chose to spend your time with me and supporting my channel. Really easy. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the notification bell. And I hope that you're all doing well. But if not, I do hope things will get better for you soon. But in the meantime, join me in meeting Inner Child Cards, a fairy tale tarot. And this deck was created by Isha and Mark Lerner and illustrated by Christopher Guilfoil. I'm sorry if I butchered that. And it was published by Bear and Company and released December 15 of 2001. So this deck has been out a long time, and at that time it retailed for $34.95. And this is a huge box that they come in. The box is 9 inches height, across is 6 inches, and the width is like 2.2. Yeah, it just covers the screen. And I did buy this used, so as you can see, this does not match this color. It's faded, but that's okay. I don't mind buying used cards at all. Don't mind them at all. The title is only on the side, as you can see, which is kind of a bummer because this one would take up so much space. So I would like to stack my decks on top of each other because this one would take up so much space. Okay, so Isha has a couple other decks, the Tarot of the Four Elements and the Triple Goddess Tarot, and I do believe she has a website, so I will link her socials. I couldn't find anything from Mark and Christopher. Okay, so on the back we have revised edition of the bestseller. The authors have accomplished nothing less than a symbolic miracle. Inner Child card plucks and plays resonant chords of emotional memory and the psychic life trapped away in a long forgotten childhood stories. And this is just a review, I guess, from somebody in Tarot Alley. Okay, and the box, you get 78 cards and a 320 page book. That's the guidebook. It's like a regular sized book. It's so big. And it says, Inner Child Cards is a divination system that reawakens the child in all of us by gently helping us to interact with the world's most potent archetypes. The authors assign an archetypal childhood story to each image in the traditional tarot deck. Cinderella aligns with the Moon card, traditionally associated with the power of dreams and vision. Sleeping Beauty parallels the Death card with its theme and personal metamorphosis. Little Red Cap stands in for the fool, the innocent, and the big bad wolf portrays the devil. Before the age of reason, higher learning was transmitted through archetypal characters in stories and fairy tales. In modern times, these all-important stories have been relegated to a secondary position, with no recognition of their deeper meaning. The whimsical art and familiar characters of the Inner Child cards will awaken dormant emotional memory that has been trapped in long-forgotten childhood stories. Tarot has always had an uncanny capacity to act as a hall of mirrors, reflecting the true trajectory of life. By referencing fairy tale archetypes, Inner Child cards give adults an especially clear reflection of the child within and imaginative access to the soul's own personal truth. And because of their playful nature, these cards are equally well suited for use with children. And then just gives a little blurb biography on Isha and Mark. And this deck slides out. You'll have to slide out the box and the guidebook, which is an understatement. Look at that. That is so thick. That is, yeah. They used to do them these big. They've shrunk the guidebooks over the years, but yeah, this is like it's at 320 pages, and we'll go over this after we look at the cards. And it does have a card holder, and it doesn't exactly hold them. As you can see, they're kind of sliding, but with this thick guidebook, it'll hold it in place. And it doesn't have a ribbon, but it does have these thumb. I don't like those. I don't like these thumb things that they put in there. I do not like them. And if this thing breaks, or it's plastic, it's a plastic card holder, but it is removable. So if you don't like it anymore, or it cracks or whatnot, you can get rid of it. Okay. And we have this I don't know, starter card, introductory card in the front. And the original deck was, as you can see, 1992. I didn't look up when the original deck was produced, and I think you can still find it out there, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So, as you can see, these are big cards. They are very big cards. And as you can see, the regular tarot, are pretty much dwarfed in size. Okay, so the dimensions are 6 1/4 height across is 3.75, and the deck thickness is about 1 inch. And reversals, if you use them in tarot, they won't be revealed by the background. Yeah, it's got some scratches and stuff, but that's okay. I don't mind a little ding on my used cards. Okay, so in my tarot videos, I do a side-by-side comparison with a Rider-Waite. And they have some differences. Yeah, I will probably side shuffle these cards. Okay. As you can see there, yeah, you can see the size difference. Okay, so the deck I'm going to be using for the comparison is the Rider-Waite Tarot, and it is produced by US Game Systems, and I do believe that Amazon has it, and I do know that Amazon has this deck as well, because I looked it up and they do have it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do a comparison with these two. And like it said on the back, all of the major arcanas, the titles that you've seen in the traditional Rider-Waite have all been changed, and they are I want to say that they are fairy tale themes, like Little Red Cap is like Little Red Riding Hood, and you probably are familiar, if you've read fairy tale tales, you will be familiar with a lot of these. Okay, so you do get the number at the top. And we have Aladdin and the Magic Lamp for the Magician. And the High Priestess is the Fairy Godmother. Mother Goose is the Empress. The Emperor is the Emperor's New Clothes. The Hierophant is the Wizard. Hansel and Gretel are the lovers. Peter Pan is the Chariot. Beauty and the Beast is Strength. Then we have Snow White as the Hermit. The Wheel of Fortune is Alice in Wonderland. Justice is the Midas Touch. The Hanged Man is Jack and the Beanstalk. Death is Sleeping Beauty. Temperance is the Guardian Angel. The Devil is the Big Bad Wolf. The Tower is Rapunzel. Star is Wishing Upon a Star. The Moon is Cinderella. The Sun is the Yellow Brick Road. Judgment is the Three Little Pigs. And the World is the Earth Child. Okay. And next we have the wand suit, but they've changed the symbolism for the wands into butterfly. And I don't think there's butterflies in all of them, but the top of the card is a butterfly. So as long as you remember butterfly for wands, you'll remember the suit. But the more that you use the deck, you'll remember it anyway. All right. So. And there are winged characters. Want to see Little Faye? And they do have the title on the bottom. Oops. Okay, and the court cards have been changed. The page is known as the Child. The Knight is known as the Seeker. And this is the Little Prince. this is Dorothy of the Wizard of Oz. And then the queens are the guides, and this is the Pied Piper. And kings are guardians, and this is an angel. This is Raphael. They added some angels into the deck. Not too many though. Alright, next we go on to the swords, and this one they left alone. It's kind of baffling to me how they'll change a few of the suits but keep some the same. I don't know. I've had other decks to where they change the pentacles, and it's like, why did you change the pentacles? All right. And I don't know if I would recommend this one as a beginner's deck. Because, like this one, unless you saw the title, you would know that this was the three. If the title was covered, would you know that this is the Three of Swords? Just from the illustration? There's not even three swords. There's a triangle. There's three, but yeah, you would not know that this is the Three of Swords. So some of the illustrations are different, and as a beginner, when you're learning, it can be intimidating. But with every, with every deck that you use, the more you become familiar with it, you'll learn it, and you'll remember, what it is and everything like that. And if you've used like the Rider-Waite as your foundation decks to start off with, yeah, it shouldn't take you too long to be able to use one of these kinds of decks. It just takes time and patience. Okay. Alright, so in this chord section we have Pinocchio as the child page, and the Seeker Knight is the Scarecrow, and the Queen Guide is Robin Hood, and the King Guardian is the Angel Michael. Okay. And next we have the Winged Hearts. That represents the cups. And I think they decided to go with water because, yeah, the cups do represent water, emotions, do believe that's why they chose to do water in this suit. And it says the 9 of Hearts. I forgot to bring that up. Instead of cups, yeah. And I do believe they explain that in the guidebook, the changes that they made. Okay, so in this one we have Goldilocks as the child page. Then we have the Seeker Knight, the Tin Man. Then we have the Guide Queen, the Good Fairy. Then we have the Guardian King is Gabrielle, the Angel Gabrielle. Okay. And lastly, we have the crystals that represent the pentacles. And on the bottom it does say Ace of Crystals, and you also have up here with the crystal so that you know what suit it is. And I do believe that they chose gnomes for this suit. And I think they chose gnomes to represent the pentacles because it is grounding and materialistic, not in a bad way, but I guess it's just down to earth is another way to put it. And the borders do change with the suit. As you can see, this is like an earthy kind of coloring. Okay, so we have Huck Finn as the child page, and the Seeker Knight is the Cowardly Lion. Yeah, they didn't draw him so well. He looks like a very starved lion. And the Guide Queen is Saint Nicholas. And the Guardian King is Gaia herself. Alright. Yeah, I forgot to bring that up. As you can see, they have different borders. So with the crystals, you have earthy, represents all the earthy things. And then with the hearts, you have the water creatures in blue. And the swords, I'm not too sure what they were going with the swords other than air, because they've got clouds and these guys are blowing air. That's the only thing I got out of that. And then we have the wands, so we have kind of like flowers, spring-like. As you can see, it's got the flowers and yeah. And then the major just has, you know, the different multicolored kind of colors. Okay, so that is the deck. And the cardstock is on the thin side, but it is flexi bendy. It shouldn't tear or crack or anything like that. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this giant guidebook. All right. Okay, so we have content page. Got a lot of contents. Yeah, they call the suits the magic wands, the swords of truth, the winged hearts, and earth crystals. Okay, and then we have our acknowledgements, and we have quite a long foreword and preface. So instead of me going through this, I'm just gonna flip through it and you guys can pause and read it, but it goes deeper into tarot. And you can pause it and read it, and I'll just go slowly through it. But they go, like I said, they go into the tarot, and also they explain about the deck, what they're basically going for. They're kind of explaining the choices of the cards. And it said that these cards, the release of these cards with a monumental astrological event known to astrologers everywhere as the Uranus and Neptune conjunctions in Capricorn. So that was an interesting thing when I read that. They released it during that time period. And then also they explain about the world and the earth child. And then right here is where they talk about the minor arcana and what they were renamed as. Okay. So I do believe that this was written by Antero Ally. They were the one that did the thing on the back. So that was their forward. Then we have a preface. Preface? Okay. And I'm just going to do the same thing I did. Just go through it and you could pause it and read it. And they said that it was 9 years before. So I'm not even going to do math because math, I'm terrible with math. So this one was put out in 2001, and then subtract 9 years from that, and that's when they came out with the original one. And yeah, it just talks about the deck basically in here, and folklore, childhood stories. It's a long preface. It really is. And it talks about symbolism as well. Okay. And they do also talk about what they wanted the cards to represent and the hope for the cards. So, like they stated on the box, you can use these with children, or you can use these for your own inner child. Okay, and then we go into the oracle part. It's a tarot deck, but they call it Oracle, but that's okay. How to use this deck. And yeah, this is long as well. Like I said, they did a little deep dive into this guidebook. So they basically go on to the background of tarot, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to let you guys pause this. And it just talks about tarot, the history of it, and breaking down the deck, and kind of going into some of the explanations for the choices that they made for the major arcana cards. Then we go into more of the suits. And they also talk about, they interject a little bit of astrology, and it says that one of the most extraordinary ways to work with a new deck is to buy it at a significant moment in time. This may mean purchasing a deck on the one day of the year when the sun crosses over the natal placement of your Chiron, Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto. If you're into astrology, you can read up on that. And then we go on to, there's no right way to prepare yourself. You can read for your own, read for a friend. And it says that some traditional authorities have warned against doing readings for yourself. I think that's bullshit, but I think you should read for yourself. Most people do anyway. Okay. And also, you can make stories from this as well. Alright, then we have using the deck with children. And I imagine that would mean therapy sessions, or if you wanted to introduce your child to tarot, you could do that as well. And I'll let you pause and read that. Then we have layouts. Goes into shuffling, a little bit of reversed cards. They do not recommend reversed cards. So it's totally up to you. It is a personal thing if you want to do reversals. If you don't, you can just turn the card up and read it like that. It's totally up to you whether you want to use reversals or not. Okay, then we have the wishing well layout. We have what's around the corner, the child, and these are spreads. The rainbow, hopscotch, and they go into a deeper explanation of the layout. The spiral staircase. Oh my god, I can talk. That's pretty cool. It does that. This is a big layout. Okay, then we go into the nitty-gritty of the cards. Then we get another introduction. And I'll let you pause and read that at your leisure. Okay. Oh, if I can get a grip on these. And then we go into for the major arcana, we have the name of the card, the number, and then the astrological ruler of that. And it's the same. It hasn't changed. And then we have a keynote, kind of just describing the essence of the card. Like the Fool is the child within, the Magician is the creative child, the High Priestess is the wisdom keeper. And yeah, this does make sense right here, this stuff. It's a good way to describe them. Alright, now we are getting into the nitty-gritty of the guidebook, and we have the black and white illustration of the card, and then we go into long meanings of the card, and it basically intertwines whatever card, like this one, Little Red Riding Hood, and it talks about the story itself and how it compares to the card that it was chosen for, like the Fool, and how they intertwine with each other. And then we have a traditional tarot archetype, which is the Fool, and the planetary ruler, which is Uranus. Okay, so basically that is the major arcana. Okay, then we go to the minor arcana, and then we have another introduction. So it just talks about the minors, and I'm gonna pause that and let you read that at your leisure. Okay, now we go to the magic wands, and just gives a little bit of background on the wands. And then we go into the meanings, and they don't do like they do in the majors the thing, because it's the Ace of Wands and the planetary Taylor ruler. Minors don't have that. So because there's not really a story with the minors except for the court cards, they're not going to really do much of a comparison. They're just going to basically give you the meaning of it. Okay. We have court cards. And they do just like the major arcana. They give a background on the story of whatever they picked. And then they tell you whoever they picked, character, angel, whichever one, because they did put angels in here. Okay, and then we go on to the next suit, which is pretty much the same. It's the same rinse and repeat kind of thing. And then we have some notes, and I will let you read that at your leisure. And then we have some bibliography. And that is it. And there is an inner child card workbook. And I think Amazon has it. But you can just put in inner child cards workbook and it will bring up where you can buy it from. So you can buy the workbook to work with that. And it's got some more of Isha's stuff. Got a couple of these on the top. All right. So, shuffling. Like I said, unless you have very, very long fingers, you're going to struggle with this deck. If you the rifle shuffling, no. Rifle shuffling, unless you've got those long fingers, I do not. Overhand, overhand is going to be an issue as well. I think the only legitimate way you're going to be able to shuffle these is to side shuffle. That's pretty much it. Yeah, back in the day, they made these big cards. I don't know why they made them so big back then. Okay, so side shuffling it works beautifully. You're not going to get a hand cramp. And you can cut them and put them in the different pile. Fanning. Let me see. Let's see if fanning. Well, doesn't work great because it's a little shiny. The cards are, but not glistening shiny. The ones where you can just slide them with no issues, like slippery. All right, so I'm gonna try pick a card. They kind of do an overhand shuffle. You can do it this way too, but it's not going to really be shuffled that much. All right. Oh, we have the Ace of Wands. That is pretty, though. I think the artwork's going to have to grow on me. Initially, I'm like, I'm not sure about the artwork on it. But I'm sure it'll grow on me because I've had other decks to where I've looked at the artwork and gone, and then they grew on me, and sometimes they didn't. So, all right. Ace of Wands. In this card, a magnificent soul potential in the form of a butterfly is being unveiled by two fairies. In Welsh mythology, fairies are known as the mothers or the helpers. These fairies are liberating the spiritual quality of humanity. There is a connection between the soul and the butterfly in Greek mythology. This stems from the belief that the human soul becomes a butterfly while searching for an incarnation. The process of transformation is extremely powerful in our lives as we search for a broad understanding of the future and a gentle surrender to the past. As we emerge from old wounds, we take on the new colors and wear new wings of hope, much like the butterfly miraculously unspiraling from the dark cocoon. The butterfly is released into the light and is offered new conscious awareness. This may very well be happening in your life right now. The butterfly is an essential emblem of love, suggesting in China a wedding of souls. This winged gift is a reminder to you today that love, soul, unity, and art are fluttering into your life. An inspired rebirth is taking place. It is time to reveal your true colors. The flight has begun. I want to read one from the major so I can show you how they interject with the story and the character. Okay, so we'll do Little Red Cap. Because the minor, it's okay, but with the major, you have a little bit more detail, so you can kind of get an idea. Okay, Little Red Cap. The classic fairy tale of the Little Red Cap, often known as Little Red Riding Hood, is a story of childhood innocence, curiosity, excitement at the onset of a journey, temptation, and the primal stages of becoming an individual. Sent to the grandmother's cottage by her mother, Little Red Cap is given a basket of goodies and told to follow the path and avoid the dangers of the woods. As a naive and fearless child, she is curious about the open world and has no concept of the dark forces that may be ready to steer her off course and away from her destination. While traveling the road to grandmother's house, Little Red Cap meets the big bad wolf and describes her journey to him, ignoring her mother's advice. The wolf encourages her to visit the woods, and she follows his advice and goes off gathering flowers for her grandmother. In the meantime, the wolf goes to the grandmother's cottage, devours the old woman, and lies in wait for Little Red Cap. I've never liked that part of the story. Poor grandma. Near the end of the tale, Little Red Cap enters the house and is also eaten by the wolf, pretending to be the grandmother. As the wolf rests after his meal, a woodsman enters the cottage, cuts open the wolf, and frees Little Red Cap and her grandmother. In effect, they are reborn, and the wolf's stomach is filled with stones, causing him to eventually die. In other versions of the story, Little Red Cap meets a wolf a number of times and learns to outsmart him. Little Red Cap received her name because the grandmother made her a red velvet cap when she was very young. She loved it so much that she wore it constantly, and everyone called her Little Red Cap. As red is a color representation of will and fire, the red cap symbolizes the initial stage of spiritual adventure and mental power in the card. In traditional tarot decks, this is the Fool card, often shown by a jester who wears a special cap or hat signifying the presence of divine consciousness. The wolf lurking in the woods stands for the dark, unintegrated aspect of consciousness and the temptation to stray from one's higher path in life. He signifies the antisocial tendencies within ourselves and reappears in various guises: wicked witch, evil queen, fearful giant, throughout the major arcana. In the daughter, mother, and grandmother, we see expressed the ancient triple goddess, maiden, mother, and crone. In a general way, this card also sums up the entire major trumps because Little Red Cap represents the child spirit within, who is traveling the illuminated road of higher consciousness. She is sent by Earth Mother, destined to be reunited with the grandmother of universal wisdom. On the way, she is tempted by the vagaries of life and learns from her mistakes and failures. The woodsman who allows Little Red Cap and the mother to be reborn symbolizes humanity liberating the individual soul and allowing it to join the spiritual hierarchy of the planet. When this card appears in your reading, be ready for adventure. Open to the vast horizon of the unknown and be willing to take risk. Step beyond the limits set by cultural standards. Temporarily, you may feel lost in the dark, as if emptiness has beckoned you into the void. Enter and be reborn. See life more as a game of chance, an opportunity to play. The experience of the fool often occurs during times of great inner change. It is as courageous as it is humbling to wear the fool's mask and walk the road into the unknown. Eventually, through the process of rebirth, your genius and intuition can emerge. Remember to wear bright clothes. I told you, deep. It's really nice. I like this. I like the guidebook because it does give you a new perspective on how to look at the Fool. It really does. But that's the major arcana, and it is more expanded on, like I said, than the minor. So if you do have this deck by chance, even though it's been out for a long time, I didn't know anything about it until I saw it at my occult store, I guess you could call it. They had it on sale because it was used, and I looked at it and I said, oh, this is really interesting. So yeah, I'm a sucker. I will buy pretty much anything, any kind of cards. that I find interesting. I really am. But if you do own it, yeah, just leave a comment on how it's working out for you and any kind of pros and cons with the deck. And if you did buy it or put it on your wish list, go ahead and leave a comment and let me know, because I always like to know if you guys are getting anything out of my videos. And, you know, feedback is always nice. But once again, thank you so much for spending your time with me. And I do realize that this is a longer video than usual, but it's an interesting deck, so it deserved as much time as it needed. But thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I hope that you will join me with another video. But until next time, take care and goodbye, my dears.